Hi there, my name is Tate Albritton, and I'm going to be covering the introductory portion of our indoor crime scene. So our team consisted of Aubrey Burris, Mariana Gomez, Genesis Vera, and myself, Tate Albritton. Just to cover the table of contents, I'll be going over the introduction to the scene, just going over a brief description of it, and just some initial scene observations observed. The evidence description will be done by Aubrey. Collection and packaging techniques will be covered by Mariana. Other scene techniques, including photo log, will be covered by Aubrey and Genesis. And finally, the main and alternate theories, including sketches, will be covered by Genesis. So just an introduction to the scene. My team and I were called out to the GCU campus, specifically Building 57 and the Orfila Room at 11:50 hours on December 3rd, 2024 by Sergeant Rex, badge number 5957. And this was to a report of a reported homicide, the victim being Toby and the suspect Jenny Mullet. Our time of arrival was 12:36 hours, and our time of departure was 14:27 hours. Some of our initial observations, once we arrived at the scene, we noted that it was secure and cordoned off by the first responders. Within the scene, we found a firearm which was deemed safe and secure within the scene before proceeding with any other processes. Within the scene, we also noted that there were two entrances and exits, one opening along the west wall in the southwest corner, and a door along the north wall in the northeast corner. Right next to this, the door in the northwest corner was a thin glass window. Adjacent to the door was a tall brown skinny cabinet with black bags on top of it. And this was flush with the east wall. Buttressing that was a small pillar which had the decedent lying against it. The decedent was lying with his legs facing the south wall and his back against the east wall and that pillar, as well as the cabinet. It kind of right the corner where the cabinet hits the east wall. There was a bright red gash running along the top of his eyebrow, and he was in a slouched manner, missing his right arm. In the southeast corner was a purple desk rolling chair with black wheels, and above that on the east wall was a cork board with a Mission GCU poster. And here is just a look at our scene from an overall from the southwest corner. On the right photo, you'll be able to see the as is before any evidence was disturbed. Also, you'll be able to see on that bump out on the north wall, there is a picture frame. And on the left, you'll get to see the placards of, you'll get to see the overall scene with the evidence noted by placards. And here's just another look from the northeast corner, kind of behind that cabinet, facing out towards the door along the west wall. And I'll now turn this over to Aubrey.
I'm Aubrey. I'm doing evidence description. We identified, photographed, and indicated on our sketch 9 evidence items. Our first item of evidence is this white powder. We found it in the middle of the west wall after this bump in. It is a superfine powder in a lined out pile, approximately 2 inches in length on this metal leg of the wall, and also consider it the floor. Item number 2 is this cell phone. We found it near the northwest corner of the south side of the bump in on the west wall. We found it with its screen facing down. It is a dark blue Samsung phone with a black 3D pattern case with multiple wear and tear spots. Item number 3 is this white paper. We found it near the corner of the west wall, pointed to the southeast corner of our scene, so the corner of the bump in. It is a half sheet of printer paper and it's blank, but when we altered it and turned it over, we found this mid-length note near the top of the page, starting with "I'm taking a nap." Item number 4 is this white canister. We found it in the victim's left front jean pocket. We collected this item before the medical examiner removed her body from her scene. It is a small round container. It is white and there's no label or writing on it. It is taped around its opening. Item number 5 is this piece of clothing. We found it near the northwest corner of the window on the north wall. It is cut or ripped at its edges. It is white with multiple red droplets, possible blood staining. Item number 6 is this possible blood stain found near the top of the chair leg nearest north. It is dried, it's dark red in color, and it's kind of like a small spatter stain. We collected a control adjacent to the stain when there was no blood present. This item is labeled as item 6A. Item number 7 is this bullet casing. We found it under the right foot of the victim near the southeast corner of our scene. When our body was removed, it kind of moved closer to the south wall. It is straight shaped. It has a copper color. It is center fire, and the head stamp reads 9mm R-P Luger. Item number 8 is this firearm. We found it in the middle of our scene. It is a revolver with a black body, a neon orange cylinder and muzzle tip. It is pointed towards the west wall. The trigger was uncocked when we found it, and there is no live or fired rounds in the cylinder. Item number 9 is this glass cup found near the southwest corner of our scene along the south wall. It is a wine glass with a small neck, and it's clear, and it contains a small amount of blue liquid at the bottom. The whole item was not collected, although we did do a DNA swab near the rim of the glass, labeled as item 9A. We also took a sample of the liquid near the bottom of the cup, labeled as item 9B. We also fingerprinted, and we found this nice print near the top of the glass. This item is 9C.
Mariana Gomez, and I will be discussing the collection and packaging process that we use during the indoor crime scene. So starting with slide 11, the collection process, we have white powder, which was collected with gloved hands and then scooped into a bindle. The cell phone was collected with gloved hands. The white paper was collected with gloved hands. The white canister was also collected with gloved hands. And then we have the piece of clothing that we collected with gloved hands. And then we use butcher paper, and we put the item of clothing in the middle, and we kind of folded the piece of paper into a bindle-like form, making sure that there was a piece of paper between each layer of the fold, just to ensure cross-contamination did not happen. And then we have the possible blood stain, which was collected with a wet and dry swab. The control sample was also collected with the wet and dry swab, and it was collected adjacent to the possible blood stain. The bullet casing was collected with tweezers. The firearm was collected with gloved hands. And the glass cup we did not collect, simply because we have a DNA swab, a liquid sample, and a fingerprint, so there was no need to collect it. The DNA swab was collected with a wet and dry swab around the rim of the glass cup. The liquid sample was collected using a pipette, and we collected 1 milliliter of this and put it into a vial. The fingerprint was collected using the brush and powder method. So now, moving on to slide 12, we have the packaging process. So the white powder was packaged into an envelope, the bindle of it was put into an envelope. The cell phone was packaged into an envelope. The white paper was also packaged into an envelope, and it is worth noting that for this one, we wrote all the information that needs to be on the package, on the envelope for the white paper before we actually put the paper inside, just so that way indented writing did not occur. The white canister was packaged into an envelope. The piece of clothing was packaged into a paper bag. The possible bloodstain was packaged into a swab box and then an envelope. The control sample was packaged into a swab box and then an envelope. The bullet casing was packaged into a coin envelope. The firearm, which we zip tied this to a box using the trigger guard and the handle, just so that way it didn't move during transit. And the glass cup, we did not collect it, so we didn't package it. And then the DNA swab of the glass cup, we packaged in a swab box and then into an envelope. The liquid sample from the glass cup, we put it into a small paper bag and then we put crumbled paper out for like padding, just so that way it didn't move. And then the fingerprint was packaged onto a paper card. And it is also worth knowing that I forgot to mention that for the white powder, we did tape all the edges of the envelope, just because we don't know what this substance is and safety is our number one concern.